Since these segments are called World Class Arizona, then you have to really fall into a category legitimately that would be world class. And I don't think anybody would argue that when we're talking about Arizona Public Service, that's applicable. Headed by Don Brandt, Chairman of the Board, President, CEO, Pinnacle West, Arizona Public Service. And while I was preparing for this conversation, I was surprised, having been around here for nearly a century myself, that APS is 125 years old. I think it comes as a surprise to a lot of people. But since you're the guy in charge, what are you proudest of when it comes to APS?
I'm proudest of the people. And you're right, I think we're maybe going on 128 years now. But I'm proudest of the people. Just earlier this month, when we had that record rainfall, 4.5, 5.5 inches, our crews were out when hardly anyone else could get to work. Our crews were already out taking care of customers that were out. And I know we briefed some of the media towards the end of the day as to the extent of outages, which late that day we only had about 125 out. And but for safety, we put safety first. We would have had those customers back on. But they were amazed that our people were out working when nobody else could get to work.
Well, not only do you keep the lights on and the electricity going, but you also have a huge economic impact on the state of Arizona. I'd like you to go into detail.
Yeah, we spend about $1 billion locally. We have a policy to spend our money locally on local vendors to get the same quality and to go the extra mile to find those kind of vendors that can keep the business in Arizona at the same cost, competitive with outsiders, and we've been very effective at doing that. But we spend about $1 billion locally with Arizona vendors. Total impact is about $3.5–4 billion a year. And between our own 6,500 employees plus the impact on other businesses, we estimate it's roughly about 40,000 jobs in the Arizona economy that are attributable to APS serving its customers.
Well, I know that having been a participant in the services that you offer for so long, I know how important it is to you to keep the lights on, but also how important it is for you to be a good community partner in so many ways. Talk about that for a moment, if you will, Don, how you are a good citizen and a good neighbor for the community and also for your employees.
Well, I'll put our employees first. They're out in the community. And whatever corner of the state I go to, whether it's Phoenix, Flagstaff, Yuma, you name it, they're on almost every board, whether it's Aquinas, Rotary, Church, you name it, they're on that and leadership position in those organizations. And we support our employees in those endeavors. We think it's important. They're prominent members of those communities, and we support them with time and with finances. Last year, we, between our foundation and APS, contributed just under $10 million to the communities we serve across a spectrum of services. We have an emphasis on education. We think that's really something where we can make a difference long term.
Tell me about this word, if you will. And I don't think that it's unique to utilities because I read about it everywhere. But define how it is applicable to what you and your people do. Sustainability.
It is a unique word, and it's got some universal application. But we look at sustainability not just from an environmental standpoint, as some do, and that's important, but to sustain our business and the overall economic viability and health of the communities we serve. We want to do the right thing. The success of our communities is the success of APS. So APS can't be successful unless our communities are successful. And that's why we believe being a good corporate citizen is just smart business long term.
With just a few seconds left in the time that we're allowed, We're coming back as a country economically. The valley is coming back. The state is coming back. How optimistic are you about the future?
I am very positive on it. Arizona is still growing at twice the national average. Now that's significantly less than it was 6 or 7 years ago. But there's still lingering impacts of the recession here in Arizona and around the country. That's just a fact. But we're starting to see it come back. Home building starting to come back. Home prices are going up. I know talking to the major home builders around Arizona, they're very optimistic. The rebound's probably not going to come in 14, but in 2015, 16, they're expecting gangbusters.
If you want to read more about Arizona Public Service, you can do so virtually everywhere, but you got to have the lights on to do it. That's his job. Don Brandt from APS, World Class Arizona.